But excavating on either side of the Jordan has been a problem. For 50 years, the Jordan was a front line in the Arab-Israeli conflict, and so it was a no-go area for archaeologists. But after peace was declared in 1994, the Jordanians cleared the landmines on their side and started to dig. After 7 years, they found what they were looking for. The telltale remains of a pilgrimage site dated to between AD. At the last count, these included 7 churches, a monastery, and facilities for pilgrims. And there was one more surprise. Rami Khouri is a Jordanian historian, and he's been monitoring the excavations since they began. He believes that the evidence that clinched it was the discovery of this pool, for pilgrims to reenact the baptism of Jesus.
There are other pools in the monastery that were used clearly for storage of water or as wells or as cisterns. So you have big pools like this that were clearly used for baptism. Mainly the evidence is the long internal staircases for people to walk into it for full immersion baptism.
I would say it was probably the biggest turning point in his life. Jesus must have had a moving experience when he realized, okay, I've got a task to do. And obviously he thought it was a task God had him to do.
Mysteriously, instead of going public, the Gospels say that Jesus withdraws into the desert where he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. In the wilderness, it is said Jesus was tempted by the devil with abundant food, immortality, and all the riches and glory in the world. Biblical scholars believe that the temptations symbolize Jesus' dilemma. He was wrestling with a big decision. The biggest decision of his life. What kind of Messiah to be? The temptations, food, wealth, glory, hint that Jesus was tempted by the trappings of power.
I think there was a temptation there to lead a military or a very powerful political move. But then he realized what he had seen as a young boy, the burning of Sepphoris. He realized that those who live by the sword are going to die by the sword. Luke says he would often spend all night in prayer. Mark says he would get up very early, long before dawn, and go out and meditate in prayer and think. So we have a human. Let's not forget the humanness of Jesus. I think he's trying to find out, what am I to do?
His decision would have fateful consequences. His words and actions galvanized large crowds who saw him as their long-awaited savior.